Welcome back to the MindGoals podcast, hosted by yours truly, Siobhan Higgins, sport and performance psychology consultant, professional soccer player, yoga instructor, and soccer coach. The MindGoals podcast is a space that I hold for myself, other athletes, and athletic personnel so that we can converse and discuss how we acquired the mindset that we have today. All with the goal in mind that any viewers or listeners can overall improve their mindset as well. Today, I am really excited and honored to have a special guest, which is my former athletic trainer from the University of St. Thomas, but he is now the head athletic trainer at the University of Houston, Mr. Andrew Crane. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. We've been trying to do this for a long time.
Yeah, I know. I feel like that's the first few words that I discuss with everyone because like scheduling is difficult, but it happens. And Andrew/Dru, I'll refer to you as Dru because
that's acceptable.
Yeah. So for viewers to know, Andrew was my athletic trainer at the University of St. Thomas when I was there in 2015 to 2018. But and you were there. When did you leave UST?
2016.
Okay, yeah. So I had you for like
1 year.
One or
one
I
and a half.
feel like 1 or 2. For like a long time.
Not that long.
Yeah. But yeah, Andrew and I have been, I'm just going to mention this because it's funny. Fun fact, he is my longest Snapchat streak.
Almost 7 years.
Almost 7 years.
Just did the math.
Yeah, we just did the math. Like it's, the way like, I don't even know how that started. I think because we always had to contact you for anything like athletic wise if I needed you. So we ended up just talking about that. And then Andrew's actually been with me throughout my whole soccer career. He knows like if anytime, I get a bump, I'm like, hey, what's wrong with my knee? Or, like that on tap athletic trainer so I can ask you questions. And plus you're entertaining. And schedule wise, I was just mentioning that Andrew's up so early and my schedule's wonky. Sometimes I'm up super late. Sometimes I was across the world. And so the schedule would work to where we could just keep a streak. But if you don't care about that, whatever, if you do, you need to know how committed we've been to that because that's 7 years almost.
Question.
Yeah.
One of my favorite questions to ask athletes. What's my name in your phone? Is it athletic trainer Andrew Crane or what is it?
Oh, it's Andrew Trainer.
Typical.
Like Megan Trainer, but Andrew. And I was about to say, don't know your last name, but I do. It's Crane. So Andrew Crane, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
That is how we know each other. We have a long friendship. So I'm going to ask you a little bit more about athletic training, about what your life looks like, and how you chose this path, what teams you've worked with, and yeah, all the above. So starting back to where I met you, UST, was that your first gig as an athletic trainer?
That was my first, like you could say, full-time job.
Okay.
Before then, I was with the Houston Texans, doing a 2-year internship. And prior to that, I was, leaving college, trying to get a full-time job. But I was blessed to actually be at the University of Houston as a GA from about 10 through 12. Then went on to the Texans for 2 years, then landed at St. Thomas. There for 2 years, went on to Auburn since 2016 to about this past July, so about 8 football seasons.
Wow.
And then I moved here a week before training camp started, knowing only about 3 people. And crazy move by me, but never looked back, and it's been fun ever since.
Wow. I think that the Auburn saga kind of flew by because I thought it was like 3 years, but 8 football seasons, 8 years, essentially.
Yeah.
Wow. And yeah, I would like to ask you about your time at UST first because I don't know if you've been back. Have you seen the training room?
I have not. I've seen pictures. I've talked to Leslie every once in a while, and it looks phenomenal. She did a good job taking over for me and kind of expanding that program and everything. Memorial Herman's helped out a lot with that. I had goals to do the same thing, but opportunity for me to get a new job, advance my career, go back to working football full time. That's what I wanted. So I got a good opportunity. So I said, pieces, I'm out, and then haven't looked back since from that time also.
Yeah. But were you born and raised in Houston, Texas?
Not born, but I claim it, and I moved here when I was 3.
Okay.
Not my decision, obviously. I'm not old enough to make those decisions.
Yeah.
But no, I've lived in Pearland pretty much my entire life. Obviously, I claim Houston. So opportunity to come back home was a no-brainer for me. I was very comfortable at Auburn, but 2 reasons to come home was to, advance myself in my career as a head athletic trainer, sticking with football, and then getting closer to home. So I said, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Super exciting. And congratulations again.
Thank you.
Yeah. I already visited Go Coogs.
Go Coogs, you did visit. Never that.
I don't know. That's wrong. What's a cougar sign? Okay, got it. Go Cougs.
Yeah, go Cougs. There you go.
Yes, welcome back to Houston. Glad to have you. Glad to have you close enough. And I can still ask you all the questions I need to.
You still bother me all the time. It's fine. Once I'm an athlete, always an athlete. Once my athlete, always my athlete. So
Yeah.
that's how it works.
You have, yeah, now that I think about it, all the teams that you've been with, you probably have so many athletes constantly.
The contacts on my phone is just ridiculous.
Yeah. I wonder if you could look and see how many you have. Thousands? It has to be.
Can you do that? Let's see.
I think if you like go to the bottom of the address book,
Let me just keep scrolling here.
You go to click Z.
There's over 1,000.
That's crazy. Yeah. What's my name?
Siobhan Higgins.
Okay. I don't know.
Siobhan.
Yeah. Sometimes it's Siobhan Soccer Ball. Siobhan Soccer.
Weird.
That's the norm.
No, always government name my athletes. I don't do the interesting like nicknames because like if I go with the hospital and stuff, they need that. Instead of just like, okay, this guy's name is Tank. Well, what's his real name?
Thomas. Speaking of hospital, let's share a story in a way that will be appropriate. to one time, Andrew had to save me during my career. So I think I must have been a sophomore. Yeah, I was a sophomore, and I was having an excruciating stomach pain. And where's your appendix?
So that's in the right lower quadrant of your stomach. So if you're looking at a stomach, right, you go straight down the midline, then you cut that across the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got your different quadrants. I don't know which way I'm looking. Right, lower, left, right, upper, left, lower. So it's in the right lower quadrant.
Okay. And my pain was in the left. That was why we ruled out appendicitis, right?
I thought you were on the right side, and that's why I rushed you to the hospital.
Oh, well.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken you.
Well, yeah. Okay. So what happened is I was like eating lunch, and then all of a sudden, I was like, oh, I got a little stomach cramp, and like, being a girl, I get cramps all the time. And then like the more I ate, like the worse it felt. And so I was like, what the heck is this? And I was like slowly like crunching over, and I was like, okay, well, let me text Andrew because I can't go to class right now. I'm hunched over, and you said, you said, where is it? And I said, it's in my stomach. And you're like, left or right? And I think I was like the right side. And you said, come here now. And then I want to say you might have even like intercepted me on the way to the training room because I couldn't really like make it there. Like it was so, I don't think I've ever experienced anything as painful as that, which I'm only laughing now because of the result. But we end up, going to the hospital, rushing through freaking traffic in Houston. Like,
I mean, basically, so you're tender, what they call McBurney's point. So that's like, okay, that's appendicitis, or that's where your appendix is. And given your symptoms with rebound tenderness and just the pain discomfort you're in, like, okay, we got to roll out appendicitis. So we jump in the truck. We're going like 100 miles per hour down the road to get down to Pearland, where our doctor was at. And thank God it wasn't appendicitis. He just, had to work out some gas. So end of the day, we're happy she was fine. But yeah, so that's happened sometimes.
Yeah, but also, first, for me, it's good to hear that like a trainer would do that. I mean, I don't really know what is that protocol. Like, is that what you're supposed to do?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we could have just called an ambulance taking it that way.
Okay,
but
no.
I mean, aren't we going to waste all this money doing that? And
Yeah.
Plus, our doctor was in Pearland. I knew exactly how to get there. So it was just jump in the truck. Let's go. Let's get her taken care of.
Yeah. And so another thing that happened is it wasn't okay. Yeah, it ended up being gas. Thanks for spoiling the story. But it was like a 5-day thing. Like, and it was, for me, it was right in the middle of like our conference tournament. So we had really important games to play, and I like could not go to school. And I remember being at home, maybe it was like 2-3 days, and like we just didn't know what it was. And I remember them toying with the idea of like kidney stones, but that happens to people that are much older. And so we were all kind of confused and like didn't know what it was. And like normally I have a high pain tolerance. I never really got injured at that point. But it was just so funky to not know what was going on. And in the end, my dad was like, I'm just going to give you some laxatives. Let's see if this works. And I was fine after that. So, yeah. But Andrew's a man to call if you need any emergency. At all times. Which is a question I have to ask. But what is your schedule as an athletic trainer?
As of right now, in the training room, just thinking about purely the off season we're going through right now. Usually in there by 5:45 in the morning. My alarm clock goes off pretty much at 4 o'clock every single day. just get myself moving, get myself going. I don't want to go in the athletic training room kind of tired and stuff like that. So I need to get myself, my mind, my body active, ready for anything that literally walks through the door. Because every day you don't know what's going to happen. That's one of the cool things about athletic training is not just their everyday routine. Like I said, you never know what's going to happen. So hopefully nothing happens crazy that day, but I'm usually up by 4 a.m. I get there to work right now by 5:45. We get the guys ready for their lifts, workouts, whatever they have going on. That's where we do all of our rehab, treatment, anything to do from a preventative nature. We do that in the morning. They go do what they got to do. They come back. We do, our post-practice treatment, recovery type stuff. And usually by about 2 o'clock right now is kind of when it dies down. Okay. And then I spend the rest of my day doing administrative stuff, getting ready for any type of staff meeting, anything like that, or any other appointments that we got to do. So right now we're talking about like maybe 5:45 in the morning to probably about, well, depending on traffic now, staying to about 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock because I'm not going to jump in that traffic going back home to Pearland in the middle of rush hour traffic. No. So that's kind of what it looks like right now. Okay. Almost a 12-hour day, I guess you can say, 10 to 12-hour day, depending on what we're dealing with. I got to take this.
You got to take it? Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Do I take this off? How does this work?
It's fine.
We back?
Welcome back, Andrew. As we were just discussing your schedule, you didn't get to the part where you mentioned it's 24/7, but it's 24/7 and he got a call. You got to take the call. So
yep, definitely 24/7. You never know when you get a phone call, a text message from anybody. Sometimes it happens 2:30 at night. I sleep with my phone literally by my head in case something happens. But something just happened just now, so had to take care of that. So it's definitely a job that it's definitely 24/7. Takes a lot of time away from you, but for me it's rewarding seeing these guys get back on the field or whatnot and taking care of them and seeing them grow from being an 18-year-old to how old are you now?
I'm 29.
There you go, 29-year-old. See how successful they become. So there we go.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it was a good segue into my question is, what made you want to become an athletic trainer? Because one, I will just say I'm very appreciative to all the athletic trainers because I see it firsthand because I talk to you daily. So I'm constantly seeing like the calls that you're getting. I know that you're being pulled different directions. I know that you work so many hours and it's tough. And I know that like a lot of people don't see that or appreciate it, but I do appreciate it. So I do want to give a shout out to you and to any athletic trainer who's listening. I know it's a grind, but my question is, what would compel you to want to do that? I mean, everyone has to do something, right? Like for nurses, right? People are like, why do you want to work a shift like this? But for you, what is it about athletic training that led you down that path?
Right. Well, first off, thank you for thanking us. In case no one knows, it is Athletic Trainer Month. So
seriously?
Thank you for thanking all my companions in the profession. So what made me want to do this? Mm-hmm. So I was an athlete in high school. Obviously knew I wasn't going to carry that on to the collegiate level. Mom was a nurse.
Okay.
Dad was a medic in the Army. So you take sports, you take medicine, combine together, you got sports medicine. I had a good relationship with my athletic trainer when I was in high school too. Had a couple of small injuries, worst one being dislocated finger that 90 degrees, bone popped out, and they reduced it, stitched it up and everything, so we were good. So I had a good relationship with them. So going into college, that's kind of what I wanted to do. And I loved it ever since. I had to do a year of, getting oriented with it. Then you had to interview for the entire process and then got in and then had a good relationship with our football athletic trainer at the time, David Gish, rest in peace, unfortunately. And just being able to build the connections I have with my companions and, fellow athletic trainers that help guide me through everything. It's been a fun journey. Yeah. So that's kind of what got me to athletic training. And honestly, I don't know what else I'd be doing right now. If I had to switch careers, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're right where you need to be.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I do have a question about in terms of how long it takes to become an actual athletic trainer and what are the credentials called? Like, what do you have to do? What exams you have to take, certifications? But walk me through the school process.
Yeah, so it's changed since I am an older person. When I was in college, you had to get a bachelor's of athletic training. So that was about, you could say a 4-year program because the first year you're trying to get into it. And then it's a 3-year program from there. Okay. I'll speak specifically on Texas. You had to take your state licensure, which in order to work in Texas, you have to have a state licensure. And then you get certified. So we take our state license first, then we get certified. That governs everything across the nation. So those are the two things you need to have done. Obviously, you got to pass those. You got to graduate and everything. Nowadays, it's a master's of athletic training. So it's kind of take away the bachelor's program. So for the master's program, you got your 4 years of undergrad, take classes similar to what athletic training is, and then you get into your master's program. And that's another 2 years, yes.
Just to pause in the middle of that. So now that it's changed and they have a 4-year bachelor, does it have like, could it be a bachelor's in kinesiology, bachelor's in biology, or does it have to still be a bachelor's in athletic training?
No, it could be kinesiology. You get a lot of people who take things that cross over, from that nature. But you would like to have people who have like kinesiology or some sort of degree like that, so they can kind of just segue into that master's program. But yeah, going back to it, master's program is 2 years. And then from there, you're trying to do any internships, trying to find a job, anything like that to keep going.
Okay, and I have another question. So during your master's degree, say now, do you would it be better to be proactive and have an internship during the master's, or is that like not really possible because of the curriculum at the time?
So I'm honestly still trying to learn that entire process. At Auburn, we didn't necessarily have a master's of athletic training program. We had basically work study students that we'd hire, and most of them would go on to enter a master's program, whether it's physical therapy, athletic training, a chiropractor, going to nursing school, anything like that. We've had people go all over the place. Here at U of H, we do have a master's program. So sign up for it. But yeah, we do have a master's of athletic training program. It's a 2-year program, like I said. I think every 6 weeks or so, they kind of rotate different sports. But you do have a thing called an immersion. So you can go to another school. I think there's one with the Houston Texans where they do an immersion there. So it's almost like an internship. So that's kind of where they go. We bring in people. I think we're going to do a immersion with Sam Houston State University this year. They'll come in and work with us for a little bit. That's basically like their internship. And at the same time, it's also like a working interview. Right. So maybe we want them to come on as an intern later on. We know, like, hey, he did a great job. Let's bring him back as an intern. Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. Yeah. I was going to ask, since you have most experience probably with, I guess, Auburn, and then now you see U of H firsthand, are those programs different for the at the graduate level? Like, is it still like a 6-week rotation? Does that just depend on the school? Because I didn't know that it makes sense, but I didn't know that you changed sports. Is that just...
Yeah, so, it was the same thing as a bachelor's, when I was in school. You would rotate a sport every semester. So, like, I started with football, went to track, then I went to, I think it was rehab. No, it was baseball, then rehab, and then basketball, and then, I don't remember, high school. So it was a rotation every semester, whereas now they go every 6 weeks, and we have affiliates with like Rice and St. Thomas, obviously U of H rotation and stuff like that. But for like when I was at Auburn, and I guess you can say even now at U of H, we hired interns. We used to have GAs, but because they have a master's program, that GA position's going away because you don't want people who are going from a bachelor to get a master's. Now they're going to go get a master's and something else too. It doesn't quite work out that way. That's 8 years of school. So they're doing internships. So that's everything like that's going away. So you want to bring in interns. So Auburn, we always had 4 interns or whatnot straight out of their master's program. U of H, we have 1. Shout out to her. She's going to the Jets after this. But yeah, we have 1 intern that we try to fill every year. Maybe it will be a 2-year position, trying to figure that out. That way we can keep some continuity and not just someone rotating every year.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice.
But yeah, they'll stick to whatever sport we kind of assign them to.
Yeah. And that was another question about that is really because you said that you're more football oriented. And how did that come? Like, do you get to choose? Or is it really just what's available? How does it work?
Basically, it's what you want to do. Like I said, when I was leaving the Texans, obviously I went to St. Thomas. We had 7 sports there. None of it was football.
Yeah.
I view myself as a football athletic trainer. With my background, I played football. It's my favorite sport, and that's really what I wanted to do was work football. So one of the reasons why I left St. Thomas was to be full-time football again.
Gotcha.
So that's when Auburn came up. I had some connections there, and it worked out for me. So I really, I guess you can say, pigeonholed myself into working football, but I'm a football athletic trainer, and that's what I want to do. I can't see myself working another sport. Okay. Nice. And so at U of H, you lead the football athletic training program then? Or what does it actually look like? I'm trying to understand because I don't see the umbrella yet. Like you are in charge of all the athletic trainers and then each are in different sports? So John Houston, who's our director of sports medicine, also the head basketball athletic trainer, he kind of oversees the department. And then it's kind of an umbrella that goes down from there. Basically, I oversee everything football, and I get I dabble in other sports too, trying to help out, these younger athletic trainers, try to make this family feel and so forth, help them as they go along in their career. Because we do have a young staff, good staff, but, a young staff. So you're trying to develop them, as we go along. But yeah, I oversee everything football.
Okay.
Right now, we all kind of work in the same athletic training room. So that's why I get to see, track and field. I get to see volleyball, soccer,
Gotcha.
tennis, all those athletic trainers. But next year, well, hopefully in July, we're going to move over to a football-only facility. So there will be me and my football staff. So it'll be me. I'll have my first assist, basically. Then I have a PT, which is great to have around, really helps us out. We got an intern, and then we'll have a thanks Memorial Herman, we'll have what we call a fellow who come in. They'll work under our PT, but they'll also be there for our practice and games. So there's 5 of us working there just for football. Then we also have our student workers that help us out a lot, setting up the field, break down the field, position coverage. They travel with us as well, so it helps out quite a bit to have them.
Wow, yeah, that's good. That's nice. Sounds like a lot of good support staff.
Yeah, we do. So, it's nice to have that. Wish we could be bigger, but it is what it is. We make it work. That's what athletic trainers do, We find ways to make it work no matter what's going on. At the end of the day, just figure it out and go along with it.
Yeah, because you kind of have to.
You have to. That's the only option.
Yeah. Wow, very neat. Thanks for giving me insight on that. My next question, what's the best part about athletic training for you?
I think I talked about it earlier, but the best part for me is just seeing, these young college kids, in their 4 years, 5 years. Heck, now it's even 8 years, however long it takes. See them grow up, from being the 18-year-old to 25-year-old leaving us, or, seeing that person the moment they get hurt on the field, to seeing them go through their surgery, through the rehab process, clearing them, seeing them go back there and play again, touching the field, maybe for you, kicking ball again, go and score a goal, or, getting that receiver who catches the first pass coming from injury, stuff like that. That's what helps me a lot, and knowing that I chose the right profession, just seeing these people, grow up and achieve their goals on and off the field. That's what's rewarding for me. Yes, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, for me, but that's what makes it worth it. It's just seeing that person achieve their goals.
Yeah. It's a direct impact on the athlete. So that must be really rewarding.
It is, yeah. And then you develop these lifelong relationships and so forth, and you still have people like yourself who calls me and say, hey, I got a fever, what do I do? Anything like that. So it's, like I said, I got over 1,000 people in my contact list, but I still talk to these people, if not daily, weekly, or they'll reach out to me every once in a while. And it's just nice to care of those relationships and friendships, and just seeing them succeed, even the pros and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's true. I was about to say you wouldn't be on this couch if it wasn't for the relationship that we had, and how your passion for the sport and my passion for the sport too. So it's a cool thing, full circle for us. Yeah. So we spoke a little bit about how rigorous the schedule is for you, how time consuming it is. How do you take care of yourself? Because me being a sport, certified mental performance coach, I talk to athletes, coaches, and athletic personnel. Like, it's not just athletes I talk to and advise, but it's people like yourself too. Like, how are you taking care of yourself?
That's tough to answer that question. I guess the first part for me would be having a good staff that you, like I said earlier, you create that family feel.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're always at work, right? So you got a good staff behind you that know what they're doing, that helps you out. But it's also, like I said, having an environment to know that, hey, I got, Pat Winters, who's my first assist, we have a great relationship. Sam Roth, our PT, he does a great job doing what he does. But we all have that family feel. Even Avery Power, our intern who's leaving us, and Caleb Whitehair, who is our fellow. We come into work, we have that relationship, knowing that we have each other's back every single day. And, we have that environment to where, they're my brothers, they're my sisters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
There's a hierarchy of kind of like how things go. Like, I'm at the top, and we work our way down. But at the end of the day, we're in this together. We have each other's back and have that family feel, So that's the first part to it, is making sure that you're taking care of at work. And then after that, trying to shut my phone off, and try to get a few, minutes to myself, which can be difficult sometimes, as we witnessed earlier. But, understanding that this is what we signed up for also helps out a lot. This is a very difficult profession to be in. It takes up a lot of time, but understanding what you signed up for helps you out mentally and so forth. And just knowing that these people are depending on you, like I said before, is also rewarding. So, that's my answer to it. It can be difficult, but you know what you're in for it. So,
yeah. What do you like to do for fun? Like, if say you had a week off, I'm laughing because I don't know if that exists for you. But if you had a week off, what would you like to do?
Honestly, just relax, just get away the best I can. Maybe go somewhere, beach up the mountains. Try to get off the grid if you can.
Yeah.
I like to cook. So throwing something on the grill. Put something in the smoker.
Yeah.
Sitting back, maybe having a couple drinks.
Yeah.
Something like that, and just try to spend time with family. Most of the time when I do have a week off, I'm trying to go hang out with my brother, and his wife, my niece,
Yeah.
Who's 6.
She's
and
adorable.
Then she's mean. No, she's lovely. I love
You
her.
probably deserve it.
But no, hanging out with family, that's huge for me because a lot of times you are taken away from that. So just being present with them, just being present with yourself, mindful with yourself.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you kind of get away from everything.
Yeah. I like that. Obviously family is super important. And like you mentioned, you even treat your staff like family. So it's like you're constantly surrounded by that. And that's very helpful. And it's impactful whether you're work environment is super important. But being able to switch off, having a relaxing week or a couple of days and just taking advantage of it, being in the present moment, because for you, you're called one minute you're relaxing, the next minute you're on call. And so, just being able to sit in that moment. I was going to say, one of the things you answered earlier, and I do love this, is that you said, this is what I signed up for. Because a lot of people, they'll sit and complain and I don't, I've known Andrew for 10 years now. I don't ever really hear you complain. Maybe once or twice you'll bitch about something, but it's super warranted, and it's just good to get it off your chest, and it's okay, whatever. And I'm sure you have so many more things to complain about, and you just don't, because this is a path that you've chosen, a path that you're passionate about, something that you love to do, and you're giving back. And so in the end, it's I signed up for this. And I think that's important to just bring people back to that, because even for myself, with an athlete, it's oh, I gotta wake up at 5 a.m. But I'm wait a minute, I signed up for this. I love this sport. I want to go on to the professional level. This is what I signed up for. So might as well turn that binging into gratefulness, because that's the only way you can really deal with it.
And sometimes you do question yourself, why am I doing this? And that's when I tell, when we do interviews with our interns, hey, at some point, in the middle of fall camp or at some point in the middle of the season, why am I doing this? I don't understand why I signed up for this. But, it just takes a second, take a step back, take a deep breath, and realize that, hey, this is a greater good. It's not just for me. It's to represent the university, the athletes. Take care of all of them, because at the end of the day, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
So yeah, just being able to do that and know exactly what you got going on and your priorities and everything. And that's something I always tell our master's students. When you're coming in, what you're doing clinically may not be taught, in the classroom, but trying to take what you learn in the classroom to the clinical setting and vice versa, and as a preceptor, you want to teach that, hey, you're not going to see this in the classroom, but this is what you really have to understand. I won't say the truth behind athletic training, but this is what you're going to be doing on a day-to-day. This is something you're not necessarily taught. This is a learned skill, and so forth. So that's something too that I pride myself on, is trying to teach, these aspiring athletic trainers, so what it's really like, so they can be better prepared for it. I've seen people who we brought in before as interns and so forth that maybe get out of the profession. They go do medical sales or something like that, or go do something different, still in the medical field, but they get out of athletic training, because of burning out. So that's something, from an aspiring athletic trainer, immediately I try to teach them, hey, this is what you're going to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Make sure you really know what you're getting yourself into. Make sure you love it. That way they can keep going strong with it, and it's a difficult profession. You got to be a little bit crazy to do it, but it is rewarding, like I've said before. So it's just trying to teach, the youngins what to expect and everything. And there's a lot of them out there that, are going to be really great in this profession. That's something I care about too, is, okay, I love what I'm doing for a living. How can I help continue this, for years and years to come? So just trying to teach everybody, the ways of it and everything. And like I said, it's rewarding for me, not only to see the athletes, but to see these aspiring athletic trainers go on and carry on this profession and doing successful, which I've had a lot go on to reach their goals. And that's something I want to see.
Yeah, that must be also rewarding as well. And then that's great, because it's kind of it's passing on the good word, and it's passing on your experience. Like you said, it's a learned skill. A lot of people, you'll go take your courses, and then once you get there, it's this is not what I studied, or it's not what I expected. And I think the best thing you can do is just prepare somebody mentally to what they're going to get into. Because like you mentioned, you got to love it. There's got to be something. It's even the question why I asked you, and why do you do it? Because from the outside, it's you're waking up at crazy hours. You probably don't have much of a social life outside of the sport or outside of work. But granted, I will say there's probably a big social aspect of it. You're dealing with athletes and everyone in the training room and all the facilities. But yeah, you got to go back to that why and like really remember it and really like put it on a sticky note, put it on your phone, or just remember the whys. And like there has to be a lot of moments of this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. But another thing you mentioned is preventing burnout. How, like, I know I did kind of ask you like how you took care of yourself, but what would you advise any like aspiring athletic trainer right now how to prevent burnout? Okay, put yourself back into, you're in school, you're dealing with like, you're waking up at crazy hours, you're getting the phone calls that you do now, you're like, do I really want to do this? Like, how am I gonna take care of myself? What does self-care look like?
I'd go back to just leaning on your peers. You know, I had a great group of friends who I still talk to today. You know, we talk about having or their silly streak on Snapchat. You know, we're in a group together. You know, we talk all the time. You know, how's everyone doing? Or hey, I have this injury. How do y'all take care of this? But having a good group of peers with you. I think there was 10 of us in our class. So there's a group of 4 of us. And like I said, we're always in contact, always talking to each other. And I think that's what it goes back to is preventing burnout by associating yourself with people who know how to prevent you from losing your mind. You know, whether it is someone in the profession or maybe someone else you can lean on outside of here, that helps you out. You know, that's a big part to it is having people that help support you, I'd say. So just finding those people that mean a lot to you, that help you get through it, and vice versa, because they could be struggling with something too. You know, so you being a support system for them. And I think that's how you truly prevent burnout is having that group of people you can really, rely on. And other people have different outlets. Like I said, I like to cook, go do that, try to get away. So combining that, with your support system, is very helpful in everything, especially when working long hours.
Yeah, definitely. And I told you off air, I would ask you off air that I was ask you about this. Sorry. But at some point you were dealing with a lot a few years ago. And yeah, I don't want to share your story for you, but will you mind? So from my point of view, Andrew was working a lot of hours. He was in like a really stressful time in his life, moving, adapting to, maybe you had already adapted. Is that wrong? Is the first few years that it happened in?
It was my second year, I believe, at Auburn. So I got there in 2016. So it was 2018. So yeah, it would be my second year.
Yeah. So Andrew experienced an incident, what we can call it.
Yeah.
And I would say from like a friend point of view that I felt like I was like, dang, this guy can't catch a break. Like he's just working crazy hours all the time. Like, are you resting? Are you taking care of yourself? And if you don't mind carrying it away and telling us the story.
Yeah. So I've always put my athletes first, maybe that's something maybe sometimes I need to do a better job taking a step away, and trying to not get that burnout or whatnot. But I wasn't burnt out at the time. We were getting ready for a bowl game. I'm trying to get my athletes ready to go so we can go out there and compete. And honestly, I was fighting a fever about 3 days straight, and I was probably not a good medical professional, and I was popping Tylenol, getting my fever to go back down. It would spike, get it go back down. I wasn't truly taking care of myself. And at that point, I had a seizure. It was weird because it was the middle of taping. The athletes thought I was just joking around because, I like to have a good time,
Yeah.
But I did have a seizure at that moment in time. And so rushed to the hospital. I was there for 3 days and whatnot. Mom and dad came up. So I've been, I guess you can say, medicated since then. But that was a difficult part just because I was trying to take care of my athletes. I didn't put myself first. And then I've had a couple incidents since then. A lot of that has to do with stress. So a lot of stress management, stuff you got to do to figure out how to help out with that. But, I'm in a good spot now. I've learned how to manage that. And I guess just staying medicated. But no, I've been able to deal with it. I kind of know how to control myself. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I don't think that necessarily plays into any of that, but it's just learning how to control those emotions and that anxiety and so forth. And, like I said, I've been in a great spot since then. Auburn was great to work for. U of H has been phenomenal to work for. For some reason, I feel less stressed being in this position I'm in now. I don't know why. Maybe I was just meant to be in this position.
Yeah.
But no, it's been great. And like I said, having that staff that works great for you. I've had a great football staff to work with. Coach Willie Fritz has been phenomenal as a first-time head athletic trainer to work with, and his staff's phenomenal to work with as well. We got a great group of doctors as well that helps out with our student athletes. So it's just I'm in a good position. Obviously, being back home helps out a lot,
Definitely.
And I know there's a damn good medical facility right here in the heart of Houston. That helps out quite a bit, which is just a 12 to 15 minute drive from work. So if anything needs to get done, we can take care of it. Whether it's our athletes, our coaching staff, support staff, myself, we have ways to get stuff taken care of.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a lot. And thank you for sharing. One what I like to do, like obviously the point of the show is like give back and so that listeners and viewers can kind of take something away. But say you were back in 2019, did it happen then?
18.
2018.
It was December of 2018.
Okay. So December 2018, you're really stressed out. Like what would you have done differently? Like obviously, you probably had to take care of yourself and you mentioned it yourself, not being a good medical professional in that moment. And I totally understand because your job is to put other people before you, but there comes a time where you need to learn like when you need to put yourself first, especially if it comes to your health. And I would like to think that you know that now, but if you were to advise somebody in your shoes, like heading your way, like what would you tell them to try and prevent that or try to take better care of themselves now?
Trust what you've learned in school, and obviously, because if I had an athlete do some of those issues, obviously I would, intervene and be like, okay, maybe we got to do this. Just listening to yourself, listening to your heart, listening to your head, and everything like that, and take better care of yourself. And that's one of those things where you have to have a servant's heart to do what you do, but at the same time, you need to pay attention to your body, to its needs, and take care of yourself. So obviously, I mismanaged that whole situation, but at the same time, like I said, I was trying to take care of my athletes, and that's obviously what we do. But at the same time, like you said, you can't do that unless you take care of yourself. So being in my younger years, I think I was kind of naive to that, but now looking back at it, I should have done a better job taking care of myself. And that's things you do also for your staff, is you look out for that. Like I said, I try to do a good job with my staff. Hey, if you have nothing to do, it's 3 p.m. go home, have a social life, take care of yourself, go be with your family, but if you got stuff to do, obviously take care of it. It's your job. But, just doing a better job, just being cognizant of yourself, understanding that, hey, yes, you have athletes to take care of, but sometimes it's not that urgent, I guess, if you can say that. So just, like I said, being mindful of yourself, mindful of your staff and people you work with, because lots of times that staff member that you have is going to also do the same that I did and try to push through. But that was something I experienced that I kind of kept to myself. Like, hey, I don't want them to know that, I'm being defeated by this fever illness that I have, and just keep trying to push through, so that's 100% on me. But yeah, just thinking back at it, I could have done a better job, taking care of myself.
Yeah, I do appreciate you sharing that because it will help somebody listening. And
hopefully.
No, it will. It will really, because like, I understand like as an athlete trying to push through something, or like athletes push through injuries all the time. And it's funny because like you would probably give the advice, no, you can't play today. You're going to re-injure yourself. You're going to hurt yourself. It's kind of the same thing with yourself. Like, no, I shouldn't go to work today. I should relax. But no one likes taking their own advice. I don't know. We're still working it out. Maybe even I'm a victim of that, but it happens. But again, thank you. I have a few more questions. First, to get on a little bit of a lighter topic, do's and don'ts of the training room.
Right. Well, my athletes, if there are two of them here today, they would tell you exactly what I say after every practice and everything is, okay, rest, hydrate, recover, and I've added another one, hygiene. So your 2 R's and 2 H's. So of course, make sure they do what they need to do with resting, hydrating, fueling themselves, whether it's with Miss Emily, our dietitian, with us from a fluid standpoint. Make sure they're taking care of themselves so they're ready to go for the next workout, practice, and so forth. Same thing with recovery. I preach big on being pre-active, through preventative stuff instead of being reactive. So having people come to training beforehand, just doing some functional movement, get on the bike, stretching, anything like that to help them be on the field, be prepared, then coming in doing the recovery stuff, with the normal tech boots, again, stretching, contrasting with the tubs and stuff like that. And then of course, hygiene. My biggest pet peeve is they come in and they don't take a shower.
Oh, stinky.
Exactly. So you're trying to do treatment on these men who haven't showered, and it smells, and then they get on these tables, and you have another athlete comes in, he's on that table. Obviously, you should be cleaning in between, patients, but then they're trying to get in tubs and makes the tubs dirty. And yeah, that's my biggest thing is please take a shower before you come in, and we emphasize that almost every single day.
Yeah.
So that's something that really gets on my nerves, so they don't come in and take care of themselves. Plus, it also helps prevent illnesses and so forth.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know, it's a cleanliness thing as well. Also, like you mentioned, like spreading germs and whatnot. You should have like a funny sign on the door, like don't enter if stinking.
Oh, trust me, stuff are up there, and always tell them, make sure you wash your butts before you come in here. So it's just, they laugh at that, but it's true. Get in the shower, take care of yourself.
Or like, I'm thinking feet, because there's a lot of like feet being taped. Like, I mean, I guess you don't care. I guess you don't care about feet if you're an athletic trainer.
Taping all the time. They're right here in front of me. It's whatever. It's all good.
It's whatever. Yeah. That's funny. Okay, what about? No, I guess you told me the do's and don'ts. Okay, before we conclude, I want to ask you a few more. What has been your best moment as an athletic trainer thus far?
I mean, I think it's just an everyday thing, you know. I can't say one specific best moment, but, you know, just like I said before, just seeing your athletes take that next step to back on the field, keeping them on the field. You know, those are my best moments. Winning those everyday small battles, you know, because you know that you stack those, that at the end of the day, end of the month, and the week, even through a whole football year, that you've accomplished what you need to accomplish to keep that person on the field. You know, so those, I think that'd be my best accomplishment, you know, is being able to provide that service, that need for them to come in, you know, whether it's a physical standpoint, illness, mental, stuff like that, that they have avenues that come to you that you can help them with. And like I said, just keeping them who they are as a person, as an athlete, you know, those are the stuff that, you know, is most rewarding, you know, and the best for me, because you help keep them on the field and keep them in the right frame of mind to do what they have to do as both a student and an athlete.
Nice. Wow, U of H, you got a good one here.
Maybe not. I don't know.
No,
TBD.
don't. No. We're not. That's not how we talk to ourselves.
Mental. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, take care of yourself for sure. Okay, and then I guess, well, I was gonna ask, what's been one of your least favorite moments as an athletic trainer?
I don't know. I guess my seizure, I guess. I don't know. Least favorite moments is just, you know, you're going to have sometimes, I won't say difficult athletes, but just difficult injuries to kind of deal with. You got to remember as an athletic trainer that not all athletes are the same. Not all injuries are the same. Yeah, you might have a hamstring strain for one person. That's going to present differently than the other person. You know, then you have one athlete maybe who can handle that differently than the other person, you know. So just trying to take care of those and manage those. One of my biggest things when people ask me, you know, what makes you successful? It's the management of your athletes, management of your staff, and so forth. You know, really knowing how to, you know, take care of this person with this injury compared to this person. You know, so I'd say that'd be the most difficult thing I've had to come across, is just being able to know who you're working with and how to handle them.
Yeah.
So
would you say that comes with experience then?
It comes with experience, and it comes with knowing your athletes and knowing your staff. Like I said, I came pretty much a week before training camp started at U of H. So trying to get to know people's names, how they respond to things differently, that was probably one of my hardest tasks I've had to do. You know, so it's
quick turnaround.
Very quick turnaround. Obviously, you're out there in Houston in the heat, so obviously trying to make sure you keep people alive, you know, honestly, from the heat standpoint, but obviously dealing with injuries and so forth. So, I mean, that was a difficult transition, but like I said, I had a great staff to help me with that and everything. But daily, I think would be the same thing too. Daily, trying to keep these people on the field, see them succeed, but at the same time, daily trying to manage these athletes and take care of them. So it's kind of like a catch-22, you can say, from like my favorite moments, my least favorite moments. It's a daily battle, you know, to try to take care of these guys, you know, and it's trying to figure all that out. Just management.
Yeah. It sounds like a bunch of people management, and that you learned from all the years that you've been doing it.
Yeah, and like you said, it is definitely something that you learn over the years, you know, and you know, trying to teach, like I said, these young athletic trainers how to see that, you know, because that's not something to be taught in class.
Yeah.
So just trying to preach to the choir of how to get stuff done and taken care of.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I do leave the final minutes of the show for my guests to have the floor, whether that is something like whether you want to use it to share a quote, give a shout out to somebody, thank someone, or give some further advice. The floor is yours.
Cool. Well,
you were like acting like you're about to just spit something out.
No, I mean, honestly, I think we talked about most of it already. But, you know, you want to talk about people who've been important to me in my life. You know, it's everybody that I've come through that's been like a mentor for me. You know, you never want to burn bridges. For athletic training, I always talk about evolving your philosophy and so forth. Like, so you're going to have these MA2 students coming from me to basketball athletic trainer to tennis athletic trainer, stuff like that. You know, you're going to do these immersions, these internships. So taking taking what you like and don't like from me, taking it to the next step, for the next athletic trainer you're working with, taking what you like and don't like from them, and kind of molding philosophy to figure out how you want to run your training room and so forth. And just continuing to grow that and modify that as you go along, right? Because what I learned 10 years ago may not typically apply now, you know, so you're always trying to learn. You know, one thing I like to say, or one thing I heard, is if you think you're the smartest person in the room, you're a jackass, because you're not. right? So you're always trying to learn from everybody that you know.
Yeah.
You know, so that's huge for me, is just learning from everybody, staying in contact with people, not burning any bridges, and that's how you grow in this profession. You know, and just not being a dummy, you know, and thinking you are the smartest person in the room. You know, I've learned a lot from my staff this year. You know, that's helped me change my philosophy. Like I said, now you're always changing that. So there's lots of stuff I learned from them and that they learned from me. Just continue growing with this profession. You know, and I think that's one of the biggest things you can teach an athletic trainer growing up, is that you should always be modifying what you're doing. There's new tools out there that you can put in your toolkit that wasn't there 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I always have to remind myself that these young professionals, they just went through classes. I did that a long time ago, you know, so there's things they can teach me that I don't necessarily know, you know, so it's just continuously to grow your philosophy and just try to be the best version of you, best athletic trainer you can be. You know, that's, I think, my biggest teaching point, you know, is just doing that. And again, like I said, building those relationships, not burning bridges, and please learn how to write a resume and cover letter, because that will get you a long way in your career as well.
That's good advice. I feel like people shouldn't have to pay to listen to this show, but you just give some really good advice, Andrew. Thank you so much. You, one of the best to do it. Houston, again,
Don't
is
lie.
so, I'm not lying. I'm not bullshitting you. You know me. One of the best to do it. Again, you wouldn't be sitting on the couch if it wasn't for the relationship that we had, the way that you've impacted my career, honestly. So I thank you for that. Happy Athletic Training Month.
Yeah.
That's what you said it was? Cool.
Yep.
That's so
The
awesome.
month of March.
Very honored to
All
have
month
you.
long.
Yeah. Thank you again for making the time. I appreciate you. And that's really all I have for today.
Well, thanks for having me. I know we were trying to do this for the last 6 months or so. And
I know, literally.
our schedules never matched up, but now I'm glad it finally did. And I appreciate you having me. It means a lot that you wanted me to do this. So
Of course.
thank you.
You have some great insight to give, and I know that people can take away a lot from this. So again, thank you so much, Andrew. Go Cougs. You can find, there we go. Go Cougs.
There it is.
All right. Happy Thursday, y'all.